A very good morning to all of you. Now, today we are going to understand a very important topic, and that is the pin diagram of 8085. Now, before starting with the pin diagram, let us say a small introduction on 8085. Now, 8085 was introduced in 1977. It is an 8-bit microprocessor, and the real name of 8-bit microprocessor is 8085A. It is a single chip NMOS device. Now here NMOS stands for what? NMOS is N-channel MOSFET, and it is having 6200 transistor approximately. Now talking about the dimensions of 8085, the dimensions are 164 millimeter into 222 millimeter. It is having 40 pins, and it is there in the dual inline package. Now what do you mean by dual inline package? Now suppose if your IC has 60 pins, then 30 pins will be on the left side and 30 pins will be on the right side. When same pins will be on the left and same pins will be on the right. Now in our case, that is in 8085, you are having 40 pins. It means that 20 pins will be on the left side and 20 pins on the right side. Now if you look at 8085 chip, then you will find a notch there on the top side, and from that notch the pin will start. Now the clock frequency 80 of 8085R. Now suppose if you are operating with 8085A, then you will get 3 megahertz as the clock frequency. Similar clock frequency you will get with 8085AH. Now if you are operating with 8085AH2, then 5 megahertz clock frequency will be obtained at the output. And if you are operating with 8085AH1, then 6 megahertz clock frequency will be obtained at the output. Now what do you understand by a clock frequency? Now clock frequency is the reciprocal of the time period, and time period is a composition of on time and the off time. It is also known as T state. Now as I have already mentioned in my previous video, the maximum clock frequency of 8085 is 3 megahertz and minimum clock frequency of the 8085 is 62.5 kilohertz. So you have to operate your 8085 between these two ranges. Now we will see about the time period. Now this is already mentioned in my previous video that this clock signal is a practical clock signal. Now this practical clock signal will be having a time period, and time period will be equals to 1 upon clock frequency. As you know that 8085 is having a clock frequency of 3 megahertz. So if you put that frequency as 3 megahertz, then the time period will be 0.33 microseconds, and it is also known as a T state. So now this is the pin diagram of 8085. As you know that 8085 will be having 40 pins. So you can see here 20 pins will be on the left hand side and 20 pins will be on the right hand side. Now the 40th pin is your VCC and 28th pin is the ground pin. So this 8085 will require plus 5 volt power supply to do its operation, and that plus 5 volt will be provided with respect to a ground. So any IC will be requiring plus VCC and VSS. So VSS is the ground reference pin. Now we'll try to understand each pin one by one. So first we will see crystal input pins, then we will see pins which are used for serial IO communication, then we will try to understand interrupts, then the address data bus. And you know that the complete address is divided into two parts, that is A15 to A8, which is called higher order address bus, and A7 to A0. But A7 to A0, they are not independent, they are dependent on a data. So the same lines are used for address and same lines are used for a data. So we can call that bus as address data bus, or you can say a multiplex address data bus. Now there are some timing and control signals which are very easier to understand. Then there is a unidirectional address bus, that is A15 to A8. Now talking about the crystal pin, that is X1 and X2. Now you know that 8085 will require a clock frequency to perform its operation, and 8085 will perform two important operations, that is reading a data and writing a data. So there is always a data transfer between CPU and a memory and CPU and an IO unit. So to perform this reading and writing operation, we need a clock frequency, and this clock frequency will be obtained by a crystal oscillator. Now here you can see there are two pins, that is X1 and X2, and between these two pins you can see there is a crystal oscillator. And you have already studied in your third semester that crystal oscillator is a device which will produce a square waveform. Now this square waveform will be getting into your AT85, it will enter into your AT85. Now the crystal which is producing the waveform is now entering into your AT85. Now you can see that there are two legs of X1 and X2, and these two legs are connected with AT85. So whatever is the crystal frequency, it will get divided by 2. It means that your clock frequency will be equals to 6.25 megahertz upon 2, that is 3.125 megahertz. So this crystal pin, that is X1 and X2, it is an input pin of microprocessor AT85, and a crystal of 6.25 megahertz. Generally we apply a crystal of 6.25 megahertz. Now this frequency is divided by 2. Why it is divided by 2? Because there are two pins, that is X1 and X2. So that is why we are dividing the frequency of crystal by 2 to produce the internal reference frequency of mu p. And then you will get the clock frequency as 3.125 megahertz. So there is a difference between a clock frequency and a crystal frequency. The crystal oscillator will be having a crystal frequency and AT85 will be having a clock frequency. And clock frequency is always divided, and if you want to calculate the clock frequency, then in that case you should be having a crystal frequency in your hand. Now clock out. Now it is an output pin of microprocessor AT85. Now from the name itself, it signifies that this is an output pin of AT85. Now the clock out is the copy of the internal reference frequency. As you know that AT85 will be having the internal reference frequency of 3.125 megahertz. And if you want to synchronize your AT85 with other peripherals. Now what do you understand by the term peripheral? Peripherals means what? IO device, RAM memory, ROM memory. So if you want to operate your entire system on the same frequency, then in that case you have to synchronize your peripherals with the AT85. So in that case, clock out will be the pin which is always used to synchronize the rest of the system with AT85, because AT85 is having a higher frequency and other devices will be having a low frequency. Now talking about A15 to A8, that is the address bus. Now this is a unidirectional address bus. Now these are the output pins of AT85 and they are used as higher 8-bit address, and they are used to transfer the higher 8-bit address of a 16-bit address. Now these are tri-stated signal. Now what do you understand by the term tri-stated? This we will see in a detail just now. Now AD7 to AD0, so these are very important. As you know that address and data, both are dependent. Now these are bidirectional pins of AT85 and they are used to transfer lower 8-bit address, and it is used to send and receive data. So we can call this AD7 to AD0 as bidirectional pins, because AT85 will either receive a data or it will provide a data to an external device. Address and data lines are time multiplexed. Generally what is happening during first clock cycle, address is transferred, and in the second and third clock cycle data is transferred. This we have already discussed in my previous video. If you see the video of demultiplexing of address data bus, then you will get the complete picture of AD7 to AD0. Now this is the timing diagram of address data bus. Now you can see there are 3 clock cycles. Now this is the first clock cycle, this is the second clock cycle, and this one is the third clock cycle. So A15 to A8, they are independent. So they will travel throughout the 3 clock cycles. But in AD7 to AD0, so during first clock cycle, A7 to A0 means address will get transferred, and during second and third clock cycle, data will get transferred. Now in this case, what is happening? We are providing ALE signal, and ALE will latch your address. It means what? It will store your address. So even if you transfer data onto this AD7 to AD0, it is not going to affect your A7 to A0. It means what? Your address is safe and your data is also safe. So if you want to latch your A7 to A0, then in that case you have to provide ALE. ALE means what? Address latch enable. And during second and third clock cycle, ALE is 0. Just now we have come across a tri-stated signal. Now we will try to understand more about the tri-stated signal. What do you understand by the term tri-state? Now tri-state means what? Three states will be there. Now before starting with a tri-state signal, first we will have to understand buffer. Now buffer is a logic circuit which will amplify the current or the power. Generally it will increase the capability of a current and the power. Now from the symbol itself you can say that this is similar to your NOT gate. The only difference between the buffer and the NOT gate is that buffer will not be having any bubble, whereas in case of NOT gate you will find there is a bubble at the output side. So that bubble will try to invert your signal. Now this buffer will be having one input line and one output line. The output of the buffer is same as that of the input. Suppose if you are providing plus 5 volt, then you will get an amplified version of plus 5 volt, but the waveform will be similar. Fine. Now a tri-state buffer. Now this tri-state buffer will be having 3 pin, that is input pin, output pin and the enable pin. Now from here you can see that enable is the active low pin. It means that you have to provide enable as 0. Only then there will be a connection between input and the output. Now if you provide enable as 1, so there will not be any connection. Now let us see what is happening when you are providing enable as 0. When you provide enable as 0, it means what? 0, it will convert into 1. So there will be a short circuit between your input and the output. Now if you provide plus 5 volt, now here you can see when you are giving enable as 0, so there will be a short circuit, or you can say a bridge will form between input and the output. Now if you provide plus 5 volt, then you will receive plus 5 volt at the output. Similarly, if you provide the active low signal at the input, then you will get active low signal at the output. Now if you give enable as 1, so 1 is going here, now it is converted into 0. Now 0 means what? There will be an open circuit between input and the output. So when there is an open circuit, there is air, you can say, and you can call that open circuit as the high impedance. Now try to provide a signal. So first you provide the active high signal of plus 5 volt. Now what you can get at the output? So you will not receive anything because there is an high impedance path. So this plus 5 volt will be entirely dissipated in this high impedance path. So in the tri-state buffer you will be having logic 0, logic high, that is active high, and the high impedance or the floating state. Generally in the high impedance state, input and output are electrically disconnected. So when you are talking that the signals are tri-stated, it means what? That signal will be having a capability to carry plus 5 volt. The signal will be having a capability to carry 0 volt, and when the 8085 is not in operation, then the signal will be acting as the high impedance path. Now next pin is ALE, that is address latch enable. Now it is an output pin of MUPI-8085. As you know that it is used to demultiplex your address data bus. The name itself suggesting that it is going to latch your address during the first clock cycle. Now in the previous waveform you can see that during the first clock cycle ALE is high, and during the third and second clock cycle ALE is low. Because this ALE, the main purpose of the ALE is used to latch your address, so that if you pass your data in second and third clock cycle, it is not going to affect your address. So in that process your address is also get saved and your data is also preserved. So address latch enable is very important if you want to demultiplex your address data bus. Now there are three important control signals in 8085. The first one is the IO/M bar. Now you can see this pin. The same pin will be used for IO pin, and the same pin is used as a memory pin. It means that it is an output pin of 8085. So microprocessor will be having a data transfer with either with a memory or with the input output device. So if IO/M bar will be equals to 1, then the address which is there on the address line will be of the input device, input or output device. Now if IO/M bar will be equal to 0, then address present on the address line will be of the memory. Now you can see this IO is active high, whereas this memory is active low. So this will get enabled only when if you put 0, and this will be enabled only when if you put 1. Now coming to RD bar. Now this is an active low control signal, and WR bar is again an active low control signal. Now RD bar is used for a reading operation and WR bar is used for a writing operation. There are two important operations which 8085 performs. That is reading a data either from the input device or from the memory, or writing a data either to a memory or to an input output device. So when RD bar equals to 0, that is the active low value, then reading operation is performed because there is an RD bar. So bar is there above RD. Similarly, there is a bar above WR. So these three control signals are very required to perform the reading and writing operation with the external peripherals. Now talking about the SOD and the SID. Now this SOD and the SID pin will be used for a serial communication. Now if you want to take any data serially, then SID pin will be used, and if you want to transfer any data outside, then SOD pin will be used. So if you want to take a data, then input pin will be required. If you want to move a data in the outside world, then SOD pin will be required. Now this same instruction is linked with SOD pin, and RIM instruction is linked with the SID pin. Now at this point of time you will not get anything about SIM and RIM instruction. This we will see in a more detailed form in third unit. So for this instant, you just remember that SOD pin and the SID pin are used for a serial communication, but we are more interested in doing a parallel communication with the outside world.